I have this. Okay. Do we need Bethany? All right. All right. Good evening. Happy Election Day. Now, as you know, the polls have closed in all Michigan precincts, and now thousands of dedicated election workers here in Detroit and all across the state are tabulating the results in Michigan's presidential primary. I am here at the Detroit Pistons Performance Center, which is one of the receiving centers for the city of Detroit. As I speak, workers who staffed precincts all around Detroit today are bringing their ballots and the tabulations here to be totaled and reported later this evening. The Detroit Pistons are an outstanding partner in our elections and in voter engagement, and I am grateful they offered this space to Detroit election workers so that they can securely and safely complete their work. And I'm grateful for the Pistons' dedication to the democratic process and for consistently being one of the best partners in the nation for smooth Election Day support. Now, I'm happy to report that Election Day in Michigan, like early voting, was smooth, secure, and successful. It was also unseasonably warm today. We're not used to 70-degree weather in February in Michigan, but we managed. We are, however, accustomed to the eyes of the nation being on our state and on our voters. And I'm proud to say many showed up today recognizing the need to embrace and take seriously their role in this crucial election cycle. My team and I spent all day visiting poll workers and voters across the state, and we left inspired by the enormous amount of energy, pride, and dedication these great citizens showed in making real the promise of democracy for every citizen. These citizens know that the eyes of the nation are on Michigan, and they are determined to do their work with a smile, protect every citizen's vote, and withstand any attacks that come our way. Now, today, voter turnout was steady throughout the day. Some precincts reported an uptick in citizens coming to vote this evening after work. And this is the first election that we've had 3 options for citizens to vote. They could vote early in person, they could vote from home, mailing their ballot in or dropping it off, and they could vote, if they chose instead, at polls today on Election Day. As a result of these pre-Election Day options, as many of you know, over 1 million citizens in Michigan had cast their ballots before any polls opened today. And we're still waiting on final overall turnout numbers for the state. But we do know that nearly 2,000 eligible Michigan citizens registered to vote today and voted at their clerk's office. I'll also remind everyone of the new law in Michigan that enables clerks to begin processing absentee ballots that were sent before today, to begin processing them earlier than today. That means we can expect results relatively sooner than in the past. However, we want to give our clerks and election officials the space they need to securely and accurately tabulate every valid vote and encourage everyone to have patience as they do so. I want to end with this. Today's primary election in Michigan marks the official beginning of the 2024 election cycle in our state. It's the beginning. We've got several months ahead, and they are going to be noisy ones. This will undoubtedly be a defining year for our state and our country. We in Michigan know that our votes will be impactful not just in our state, but nationwide. And I believe the votes of Michiganders cast throughout this year, and particularly in November, will define the future of our country. And I want every citizen to know the power they have to define their own future and our collective future with the votes they cast this year. We're all in this together, and my hope is that this year, every candidate for office will speak the truth, honor the hard work of election professionals on both sides of the aisle who are committed to safe and secure elections, that every candidate will accept the results as an accurate reflection of the will of the people in every election, and they will join with us with a renewed dedication to making sure democracy can work for everyone. With that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Madam Secretary, we got several complaints from voters who say they felt their privacy was violated because they say that people could clearly see which ballots, Republican or Democrat, that they had selected at polling sites, and that their information was clear and available for many people to see, with even some polling workers stating the parties they chose, the ballots they chose out loud. How do you respond to these concerns about possible violation of privacy?
Well, certainly Michigan law is clear. Under our primaries, and this is the way it's always operated, voters choose their ballot and they cast their ballot right there, right then and there. And of course, citizens who were concerned about that procedure had the option of voting early from home and doing so in the privacy of their own home. So the options for citizens to vote continue to reinstill and provide privacy. But to the extent that any voter was concerned or uncomfortable by the way in which the law was applied by our local election officials today, we were there to respond and help work through the process to make sure people felt safe and protected. We do want to, in every election, both abide by the law and ensure the safety and security of our election workers and our voters. This is a scenario in which the voter does have to choose a ballot the way that the law is set in Michigan, and that does create an opportunity for people to know the ballot that they choose. But at the same time, we want to make sure that procedure, that choice, is exercised as discreetly as possible, and again, encourage citizens who do have concerns about that particular issue in voting in person to consider voting from home, where they will have potentially even more privacy over their vote.
Well, why not one ballot? Many people are saying, why not just one ballot where they can do that? If they go to the polling site, they can make that declaration in the privacy of the booth instead of otherwise.
Yeah, certainly we can look into changing the law in the future. I think if citizens and lawmakers are interested in going in that route. For now, we administer elections as the law requires, and that's what you saw play out today.
Would you want that change?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we can have that conversation. It comes up every year. In other primaries where there is one ballot, sometimes people cross over and inadvertently spoil their ballot, so that there are concerns there when you have both on the same ballot. But we've certainly heard from clerks and voters alike that that may be something that's ripe for change, and as always, I'll defer to our election officials as they work with our voters and lawmakers to make any changes that are necessary coming out of this election.
Were you pleased with the turnout that you saw today?
I was really pleased with the number of citizens that, number one, voted early. We saw more people vote early and absentee than did in 2020, and I think that's notable. We saw a number of citizens show up today as well. What I was most pleased about today was that throughout every precinct I saw, we saw a steady trickle of voters in, and we saw election workers ready to receive them safely and securely. And so we'll see how the final turnout numbers look. But given that this was a primary election where arguably the contests on either side of the aisle were not as competitive as they have been in years past comparatively, it was really encouraging to see so many people really exercise their power to vote and participate in this year's primary. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll be on hand to answer more questions as things proceed. And happy Election Day. Hope to see you all again soon. This is someone's phone. Hi. Thank you again for hosting us. Good to see you again. More official.